#2 The Boy Who Counted Stars. The prince had learned that a signal could be lonely without being human. He had learned it from the small repeating beacons left on abandoned weather stations. They sent their little calls every 40 seconds, regular as breathing, to nobody in particular. He had learned it from the sound a public window made when its recording skipped. One tiny scrape of static, then the blue planet again. He had learned it from ships that declared no ballast and then asked, very quietly, whether anyone had seen a certain kind of light. For 3 years he had catalogued such things from the solar sail yacht that had carried him away from B-612. He had written down their frequencies, their drift, their duration, their probable sources. He had written them in narrow columns that fitted neatly across his wrist slate. He had made a method of listening. A method was a handrail. It was not the same as a hand. His yacht drifted outside the port of glass with its sail furled halfway and its systems repeating an apology. The sail was beautiful, which was not useful. It spread in pale triangular layers so thin they seemed to have been cut from the reflection of light. It had caught too much solar wind on the approach and now hung slack, its edges whispering against the spars. The Rose disliked the whispering. "It is a draft," the prince said, adjusting the bell's seal. Inside the glass bell, the Rose leaned one red head to the side with a look of patient accusation. "I know you did not arrange it. I did not say you arranged it." The bell gave a soft electronic cough. Its humidity meter blinked amber. The prince checked the waterline, the thermal sleeve, the tiny fan. He had repaired the fan twice in the last month. It was an absurd arrangement. A rose and a glass bell carried through the sector in a yacht, whose own sail required less attention. The Rose considered herself not absurd at all. A small ship came toward him from the harbor, not sliding but bumping gently through its own decisions. Its hull was visible. The fact startled him. It was white, except where it was patched. A blue wave ran down its side and stopped halfway through a rivet, as if it had forgotten what water was for. The ship hailed him. "Unidentified yacht," said a voice, cheerful and frayed at the edges. "This is the paper sail, licensed for towing, rescue, light mischief, and one sort of soup. Please confirm you are not on fire, philosophically on fire, or pretending to be a moon." The prince touched the response plate. "I am not on fire. The Rose is displeased." There was a pause. "Good," said the voice. "That rules out 2 of the expensive options." The paper sail came alongside. In her pilot's window stood a ragged, silver-furred person with an expression too open to be entirely trustworthy. Beside him, almost hidden by a coil of cable, was a small person in coveralls holding a wrench. The silver-furred person waved. The small person did not. They matched velocity with the yacht. The gap between the ships was hardly a meter, but it was a meter of unregulated space. A port beacon chirped a reminder that external contact should be minimized. 1, 2, 3. The silver-furred pilot extended a tether hook. "Cyrus," he said, "I am about to make your situation less graceful." "The prince?" said the prince. "My situation is already less graceful." "Excellent. We have a common language." The wrench holder clipped the tether to the yacht's rail in one motion. "Cindy Lou," she said, "your sail tension is uneven." "It is tired," said the prince. Cindy Lou looked at him once. "Metal does not get tired." The prince looked at the sail. Its pale sheets sagged toward the black. "No," he said, "but it carries tiredness very convincingly." Cindy Lou checked the readings on her wrist tool. The upper spar is warped. Cyrus smiled at the prince through the window. "You see, she agrees in her own severe religion." The port beacon had reached 5 seconds and begun politely escalating. Cyrus cut the external channel. The warning continued as a light, offended and harmless. The paper sail drew the yacht inward. As the port of glass widened ahead of them, the prince saw its bright rings and invisible ships moving in their formal patterns. It looked like an instrument built to measure the distance between one thing and another. Even from out here, he could see the public windows showing their recorded blue planet. A ship crossed in front of one, then vanished in the display's curated horizon. "Why are the ships invisible?" he asked. Cyrus said, "To prevent awkwardness." Cindy Lou said, "The official reason is traffic efficiency." "Those are the same thing," Cyrus said. "No," she said. Cyrus glanced down at the console. "You will find, Prince, that the port is an excellent place to arrive at, and a poor place to notice you have arrived." The prince looked at the yacht's cargo display. It showed no ballast. That was technically correct. The bell and the Rose did not weigh much. His notebooks did not weigh much. The records on his slate did not weigh much either. Though he had carried them so long, his wrists sometimes bowed under their imagined mass. A harbor attendant met them at the berth with a tablet and the practiced expression of someone trained to become uncaused in public. "Welcome to the Port of Glass," the attendant said. "Please observe the standard arrival interval. 5 seconds of greeting are included in your berth allocation. Additional contact may be requested through Form 19C. The prince had not expected the sentence to make him angry. It was only a sentence. The attendant was only performing it. Still, he thought of all the signals he had catalogued and how each had asked without words to be received. 5 seconds was enough to open a door, perhaps. It was not enough to see what stood in it. "What happens at 6? He asked. The attendant blinked. "At 6 seconds, the contact becomes unclassified." Cyrus made a thoughtful noise. Terrifying. "Unclassified contact may create a wake," the attendant said. Cindy Lou looked past the attendant at the berth's docking clamps. "This one is misaligned. The clamps are serviced on schedule." "No," Cindy Lou said. "They are logged on schedule." The attendant's tablet asked for a response. The prince watched the person choose not to give one. It was not exactly a shrug, but it had the shape of one. A small movement designed to make the whole matter slide off the floor. Cyrus watched it too. His grin went away for half a second. Then he said, "We should get noodles. Everything looks less bureaucratic with noodles on it." "Your passenger has not completed arrival processing," said the attendant. He has completed the difficult part. He arrived. The noodle shop sat beneath the port's main concourse, where the lights were warmer and the ceiling pipes were honest about being pipes. Its counter was scratched metal. Steam clouded the one real window behind the stove, so that the harbor beyond it appeared as a soft, bright smudge. A public screen beside the window showed the same harbor in perfect detail, except none of the grease was present and every passing hull had been politely erased. They sat at a small square table that wobbled whenever Cyrus leaned on it. He leaned on it at once. The prince set the rose bell carefully between the chopstick jar and a bottle of vinegar. The rose's glass reflected the three of them in separate curved pieces. Cindy Lou looked at it. "It needs a maintenance label." "It has one," said the prince. "It says do not jar. That is an instruction, not a label. It also says do not chill, do not overwater, do not expose to abrupt changes in opinion." Cyrus put both paws hands. Perhaps the prince was not certain which word Cyrus preferred on the table. "A flower after my own heart." "It is not a flower after anyone's heart," said the prince. It is particular. Most flowers are. They just lack the paperwork." Bowls arrived. The noodles were thick and pale, folded under broth that smelled of pepper, ginger, and something toasted. Cyrus ate as though he had once been told food might escape. Cindy Lou ate precisely, reading the port's maintenance notices on a wrist tool between bites. The prince held his chopsticks over the bowl and waited for the steam to clear his glasses, though he did not wear glasses. Cyrus noticed. "You may begin. We have no ceremonial rule against it." "I was listening," said the prince. "To the soup? To the room." Cyrus leaned back. "What does it say?" The prince listened again. There were bowls touching tables, a vent coughing, someone in the kitchen turning a knife on a board, the distant announcement of a 5-second contact limit. Under it all was the hum of a port trying very hard to make no sound. "It says people are tired," he said. Cindy Lou took one noodle, bit it in half, and said, "That is not a frequency." "No. Can you measure it?" "Not exactly." "Then how do you know?" The prince looked through the steamed window. An invisible ship was arriving. Its bow light moved across the glass. Behind it, unseen, there was the heavy, patient list of something carrying too much. "The sail," he said. Cyrus stopped chewing. "The sail?" "A sail can be full of wind and still be exhausted. It can do what it was made to do, and every pull on it can make it thinner." Cindy Lou watched him. "Your sail has a warped spar, yes, but I mean the other thing." Cyrus set down his chopsticks. His face did not become solemn. It merely stopped escaping for a moment. "The exhaustion of the sail," he said. "That is annoyingly good. I will have to pretend I thought of it." The prince lowered his eyes. "For 3 years I have catalogued lonely signals. I thought if I knew their frequencies I would not miss any. I thought accuracy was a kind of attendance." The rose bell gave its tiny cough. He reached automatically to adjust the fan. Cindy Lou put 2 fingers on the top of the bell before he could. Not to stop him. Just there. "You counted the people," she said in the same voice she used for a bent clamp. "But did you count the window?" The prince looked at her. The real window was fogged, almost opaque. Beyond the kitchen steam, the port's rings were only light and motion. The screen beside it displayed a clean harbor and a blue planet, a view from nowhere he had been. On the screen, no one could see in. "I counted the signals," he said. "That is not what I asked." He thought of the lists in the yacht's archive. Each signal had an origin, a period, a level of degradation, a status, received, repeated, lost. He had entered them all carefully. He had never written whether a window opened onto a room. He had never asked whether there was a person on the other side of one, trying to decide if the view was real. The rose's fan ticked beneath Cindy Lou's hand. The sound was small. It reached him anyway. He saw his 3 years of columns all at once, each careful mark a way of standing outside the room where the signal had begun. You cannot tame an ache by indexing it, he understood, not because the numbers were false, but because none of them had ever looked back. "No," he said. "I did not." Cyrus reached for the vinegar, then found the cap stuck. He wrestled with it for a moment, lost, and held it out to Cindy Lou without comment. She opened it with one turn and gave it back. "Good," Cyrus said. "We have established a standard of honesty and a standard of kitchen competence. This is nearly a municipal emergency." The prince smiled despite himself. It did not solve the list on his slate. It did not make the signals less lonely, but the smile was an event. He noticed it the way he noticed a new star, not because it transformed the sky, but because it had been absent from the chart. At the counter, a port worker put down a bowl and made the load-bearing shrug toward the cook. It was so practiced it looked like part of the uniform. Cyrus saw it too. He made a face at his broth. "Do you ever declare ballast?" the prince asked. Cyrus laughed. "At the port?" "No. I once declared an unclaimed toolbox and they made me explain whether it was emotional." "Was it?" "It had a 17mm socket. Of course it was emotional." Cindy Lou said, "His aft hold is full, allegedly. I have been in it." "You have entered a sacred archive without authorization. There are 3 broken chairs, a crate of cracked cups, and an engine part from a model you do not own. Evidence of a rich inner life. There is also a box labeled important later." Cyrus pointed a chopstick at her. "And has it not proven important later?" "It has been 6 months. Later is a broad country." The prince looked between them. Their conversation was not gentle in the way the port instructed people to be gentle. It had corners. It landed. Cindy Lou corrected Cyrus, and Cyrus made the correction into another joke, but neither of them became smaller. The table wobbled under their elbows. The rose bell reflected their bent shapes. A message chimed on Cyrus's console, still linked to his pocket screen. He glanced at it and groaned. "The harbor has billed us for unauthorized tether proximity." "Was it unauthorized?" asked the prince. It was terribly authorized, that is the insult. Cindy Lou took the screen, read it, and said, "They also want a wake assessment. Tell them the wake is doing fine and sends its regards." "I am not sending that." Cowardice in the face of administrative poetry. The prince looked back through the window. The clean screen image made him restless. He stood, lifted the rose bell, and carried it toward the fogged glass. "What are you doing?" Cindy Lou asked. "The rose needs light. There is a light over the table." "Not that kind." He placed the bell on the sill. The glass was cool, the rose turned, or perhaps the ship light outside turned and made it seem to. The prince wiped a clear circle in the fog with his sleeve. The port was there. Not the port from the screen, the actual one, a service cart with one wheel dragging, a maintenance worker on a ladder, a smear of handprint on a bulkhead, a visible little ship departing berth 12. The paper sail's blue wave looked ridiculous and determined. Cyrus came to stand beside him. He did not touch him. The port's rules were not the only reason. There were ways people had of keeping a careful inch between themselves and anything that could ask them to stay. "Your yacht needs a new spar," Cindy Lou said from the table. "The port will charge too much and do it badly." "That is our official business plan," Cyrus said. "Do you want us to fix it?" The prince held the bell with both hands. He could have said no. He had enough coordinates to continue alone. He had all his lists. He had the rose. But the thought of returning to the yacht and listening to its systems repeat their apologies made his chest feel like a sealed room. "Yes," he said. Cindy Lou nodded once, as though he had finally answered a practical question. Cyrus said, "Wonderful. You can pay in currency, parts, facts about cosmic loneliness, or any arrangement of the above." "I have maps," said the prince. "Maps are excellent. They tell you exactly how lost you are." They returned to the paper sail after the bowls were empty. Cindy Lou went straight to the engine room with a wrench and a piece of the warped sail spar's diagnostic printout. Cyrus began clearing the bunk above the galley shelf, moving a coil of cable, a stack of manuals, and a rubber duck with one eye. "You do not need to," the prince began. "It is not for you," Cyrus said. "It is for the rose. You may sleep wherever you like. The ship has a policy of democratic inconvenience." The prince placed the bell on the cleared bunk. The rose fan began its soft, offended ticking. He set his 3 years of records beside it. For a moment he thought of opening the archive and adding a new entry: 1 noodle shop, 1 real window, 2 mechanics, 1 damaged sail, 1 conversation exceeding 5 seconds without authorization. He did not enter it. From the engine room came the clank of Cindy Lou's wrench, and her voice. "Cyrus, your coolant line is held together with a spoon. It is a very sturdy spoon. It says Port of Glass on it. Then it is property of the public. It is going to melt. Everything has a dream." The prince heard himself laugh. The sound startled the rose, which made the bell cough, and startled Cyrus, who looked pleased but pretended to be studying the spoon. No one said what they had become by remaining in the small ship together. The paper sail did not ask for an application. She merely made room, badly. #3, The Mountain of One.